Hello and welcome to Club ENTP's first anniversary. We're 1 year old. Yeah! All right. And once again, I'm your host, Daparu, the Crusha. For our 10th episode, we have a very special guest from Melissa Talks. We're going to talk to her about the ENTP INFJ love connection. Also, she's going to give us the exclusive on why she changed her format from strictly MBTI content to some more provocative topics. That's all coming up next, but first, I want to give you a convincing argument why everybody wants an ENTP as a bestie. Let's say you could design your best friend. What would that look like? Well, we're going to explore those traits we look for in a friend. My position is everybody desires a fun and adventurous friend with the traits that an ENTP possesses naturally. Think about an ENTP as your best man or maid of honor at your wedding. What other type could throw a better bachelor party? Who could give a better speech and toast in front of 500 friends, family, and strangers? Who better to celebrate you on your birthday by roasting the hell out of you in front of all your friends? Who better to have a deep conversation with for 3 hours about everything or nothing at all? Who else would take you on a spontaneous adventure down to Mexico for a fish taco and a margarita on a Monday night and actually convince you it's for your own damn good? And who else would listen to you and respond respectfully to your stupid ideas and not just humor you? And speaking of humor, we all love to laugh, so who else can make you laugh harder than an ENTP? We're best known for our quick-witted comebacks, sense of humor, and honesty. So we like big puns, and we cannot lie. Well, actually I made up that last part about the honesty, but the rest of it's true. Also, when we look for traits in a friend, we look for success. You know, nobody looks for a poor person to be their friend.
How dare you!
Come on, sir. You know it's true. Well, why are you sitting next to that guy, wealthy, obviously, and you didn't sit next to this obviously poor guy right here? I'm sorry. You just look homeless. No offense. Anyways, as I was saying, we all desire to have friends with expensive toys, and as the second highest wage earners of the 16 types, we generally meet that desired criteria for friendship. And think about this. When writers develop characters with low self-esteem that have no friends, total losers, they create an ENTP character to transform their life and make them popular and successful. Like Fight Club, or Drop Dead, or Ferris Bueller's Day Off, or Fast Times at Ridgemont High, or Pineapple Express, or The Hangover. I mean, I could go on and on, but in conclusion, we ENTPs possess all these qualities people generally look for in a friend. No one's looking for an unpopular, shy, non-talkative introvert with no depth of abstract creativity or imagination. No one wants a friend who gets their feelings hurt all the time, or someone who's rigid and stubborn, who wants to control everything. Speaking of control, to my studio audience, if you see Carl, please don't feed him. He might get offended, but I need him to sign the contract for another year as the official Club ENTP squirrel. So. Oh, and by the way, some of you wrote in and you were worried about Carl's safety. Listen. Nobody has Carl's best interest in mind more than I do. Trust me. You know what? You don't have to trust me. See for yourself. Hey, Kat, roll tape. See, you'll notice that right before Carl was totally engulfed in flaming lava, I provided a subscription button for him to jump onto. So I'm gonna need you to jump all the way off my back and onto that subscription button. Oh, and ring the notification bell before you forget. Do it now. Okay, I mean it. I'll wait. I won't wait. Because all of you club members who have already subscribed deserve to see our next guest. Are you ready? Without a doubt, she is one of the most famous ENTP female YouTubers in the world. Please give a huge Club ENTP welcome all the way from the East Coast. It's Melissa from Melissa Talks. Woo-hoo! Yes, it's true. We have one of the most famous ENTP YouTubers in the world here with us to celebrate our channel's first anniversary. Please give a big Club ENTP welcome to the host of Melissa Talks, Melissa. All right.
Happy to be here.
To finally have you on as a guest on our show. Thank you for coming on.
Of course.
All right.
I'm happy to be here.
Excellent. Now everyone knows you're an ENTP, so I won't bother typing you. I mostly wanted you on the show to talk about a little bit about the ENTP INFJ combination that works so well together, and more specifically how the top 4 functions of the 2 stacks connect so effortlessly with one another, and also your thoughts on the NE and I leading the stance, and if we get around to it before that squirrel starts distracting us. By the way, have you seen Carl anywhere? If you see him during the show, just let me know. I just want to know his whereabouts, make sure he's okay. He's got a contract to sign, that.
Yes. Okay, I'll let you know.
Yeah, so thank you very much. Now, I'd like to just open that up for you so you can kind of just, first of all, you can share your mind, and then you can talk about your show that I'm a student of. So the floor is yours, Melissa.
Yes. So the infamous ENTP INFJ duo. It is the probably most coveted duo of probably both types, I would say.
So why not?
It's a high desire couple duality duo.
Duality. Yeah. I like it. Yeah. If you're really adventurous, it's a duo.
Yeah.
Batman. All right, go ahead.
No, you're fine. So just to start, since we are both NE and NI DOMs, that's right. Intuition. So we perceive the world in the same way. So I always talk about how we're living in the same worlds. We're talking about the same things. We're noticing the same things. Our minds are going off similar tangents. Mm-hmm. So communication and just the basic understanding each other is like, there's no questions asked. Like when an ENTP and an INFJ is in each other's presence, there's no need to over elaborate your needs and your desires to the other person. They have this, not subtle, but this constant awareness of what the other person is doing, what they're seeking, why they're doing or acting a certain way. Even if they don't comment on someone's behavior, they just get each other's behavior. And that's personally why I like it, because I like to be able to be myself. I like to be able to vocalize and talk out all of my ideas very freely without needing to explain myself to any length. So with this duo, we communicate very easily. We're living in the same world. So like I said, we just are aware of the same things. And when these two are best friends, or they're a couple, or they're siblings, meaning they're always in each other's presence, of course there's going to be issues and things to work through, every kind of duo out there. But between these two, it's pretty easy peasy. And realistically, it's going to be very difficult to not like the other person. You might not, obviously, if you're not a couple, you might not like them romantically, but you're probably going to just like them as a fellow human being. There's not many ENTP INFJs who butt heads, in my opinion. Or if they do, it's this low-key, like, tension, and I think they secretly like each other, but they just don't want to admit it kind of thing.
Right. Yeah, I'm fascinated by this because I have been, single for 13 years. I have not even had any interest in even looking for my type. When I've heard all this INFJ compatibility with the ENTP, and I'm like, probably not. I've been married and divorced twice. I'm done. I'm done. But I was just thinking when I met this person, she was absolutely so easily understanding me, which I thought that's really bizarre. She's seeing things that are very hidden. I have hidden Easter eggs in all of my music videos, and she's asking me these questions. I'm like, where did you come from? And why didn't I meet you sooner? And so it's been a fantastic, 7 months or so that we've been just balancing back and forth so effortlessly, and I don't have to explain myself to her all the time. She understands how I'm feeling, and of course it's always completely got to be honest in every aspect of every conversation. There can be no shady, hidden, dark ideas or secrets or agendas. And so we pick up on that so easily when they flatter us. They're like, hey, you're looking good. I'm like, oh, what do you want? And they're the same way. They're very suspicious of, why are you asking me that, or why are you saying this nice thing to me at this particular time? So we won't just accept it and go, oh yeah, thanks, I love it, more. No, we want it, just like we don't want to be told, yeah, you're right about your ideas, and not be challenged, right? Mm-hmm. So it's always fun to have that rebuttal, that person in there. And she tells me the truth about absolutely everything. She's like, honey, your guitar is out of tune. I'm like, you can tell? Like, wow. Or, you're strumming a little too fast there. Then you slow down and your timing is a little bit off. I'm like, okay, great. This is awesome. So I have somebody that constantly helps me with the show. She's the director of the show, by the way. Her name's Kat Nietzsche. And check her channel out. Oh, right here. Whoop, right there.
I will.
Yeah, so anyways, getting back to your other purpose of that, I wanted you to have a chance to explain to my audience and the rest of the world why you changed your format. And if you wanted to expound on that, I think that personally, I have learned, and I've been a student of everything that you've done. I think I've seen probably 98 out of the 100 or so videos you have up right now. And I've learned a ton, and so thank you very much.
You're
I appreciate that. And you put a lot of time and a lot of effort, and there's been so much growth in your ideas, because as an ENTP, you put at least a year or so into just that target audience, and now you're going deeper into the psyche. So I think it's amazing. But what do you want to say about the direction of your show?
The hard left turn.
Yeah, the hard left turn. And let me remind my audience, link right here. It's Melissa Talks on YouTube. So click on that. Not now. Wait till after the viewer mail, and something happens to that squirrel. We'll find him. Anyways, but tell me, this was like an amazing. I loved your energy when you finally were just kind of like frustrated. It's like, oh, these are the things that I cut out of my videos when I edit. But you're like being real with the audience, and you're letting people into your world that I'm sure no one can imagine. Being a young ENTP female, probably the most famous one that I know of, anyways, and how the whole world is responding to you on your very successful channel, by the way. Good job.
Well, thank you so much for all those kind words. I appreciate it. So yes, for about a year and a half, I mainly just made ENTP content. As an ENTP, mm-hmm. I kind of like talking about me sometimes, a lot of times, just randomly. But I'm still gonna do ENTP content. I'm actually gonna get into the other types, dive a little bit deep into them. Mm-hmm. But I'm not saying I was bored, because as an ENTP, I don't actually consider us bored human beings.
Never.
A lot of people are like, oh, you're just bored.
Nope.
We're distracted human beings.
Yeah.
We're just distracted. So if something isn't completely entertaining, keeping my focus, I want to talk about different things. And I think I've discussed almost every ENTP tangent, I want to say, at least for right now, on my channel. So over the last couple of weeks, I was just curious on if I switch things up, how will people react? So even with all of my random videos, yes, those are definitely topics that I'm very passionate about, that I want to discuss more in the future. But honestly, I was a little curious and just like my audience's reaction. I've done polls on which type is the most common on my channel, obviously ENTP.
I love that. Yeah, it's awesome.
But I have a huge INFJ, INFP, and INTJ. I want to say those are the other three main DOMs within my audience. And I was just curious with these topics on how everyone was going to respond. I wasn't trolling my own audience. I was testing my own audience per se. And I love my audience. I'm so thankful for them. We're kind of just all in this random chaos together, and that's what it's all about. And as long as we're having fun and we're learning something from every video, or there's at least a discussion or a takeaway from it, that's all I really want. I don't really have a lot of set goals other than to entertain and be entertained.
Right. And it is entertaining, and it's always right to the point. I never have to put you on 1.5 speed ever. It's awesome. And Kat loves your delivery too. It's so concise and it's so much information. You can tell you've done so much research on the topic. I'm just a clown in front of a red curtain, that's with some tinfoil hanging up behind me because, everything's, put together with duct tape because I was in a hurry, That's the ENTP way when we're just trying to get things done. But I saw that spirit in your show, and I thought, this is somebody that's actually doing this for the same reason. We're actually trying to get information from our audience because we got so many questions. We're like so curious about everything. And I want to know how many people are left-handed. I want to know how many, ENTPs were, diagnosed with ADHD or some other whatever, mental illness of the day they want to subscribe or prescribe to us. But it is, and don't forget to subscribe to us if you're just watching. Make sure both channels.
Don't forget.
So you really got into some more more provocative topics like gender and and I think that's probably because you have this hero inside of you that wants to fight for the underdog, and you see people that because we don't give a rat's ass if you're a Christian or a Satanist or gay, straight, whatever, whichever way, hey, whatever floats your boat. We're easy going. We're just, I personally, I don't strike up conversations about it because I have so many other things going on in my life, and I want to do all the things that I dream, and that's like Leonardo da Vinci found out that ain't gonna happen. But let's see how much stuff we can get done, right?
Right.
But it's exciting to learn my type. I only learned my type relatively around maybe when you did too, probably about 3 years ago or so. And it's really opened up my relationships, like with my sister, and who's also an INFJ, believe it or not, which is makes a lot of sense now. I'm like, oh, okay, you don't mean you don't hate my guts, because I just love it that it's bringing people together, and it's a really, really worthwhile thing. And I'm sure you're going to be constantly known for your MBTI expertise. But also, I think it's going to be a place where people can come to you and have, interesting conversations. You can be the Dr. Ruth of the of YouTube, when it comes to that. That's, if we need another Dr. Ruth, I don't know, but it's just I'm very interested in finding out where your show goes, and every time you make a new show, it's always well done. So that's kudos to that. That is a lot of hard work, and I'm sure you do it by yourself too, right? You don't have a crew of people behind you. You're a Renaissance person, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's just me putting this chaos together, and sometimes it doesn't go over smoothly, but that's the best part, and that's why I liked my audience. Well, that's not past tense, current tense. I love them.
Yes.
Because the topics that I did discuss, they could go over many different ways, and I appreciated everyone just commenting, wanting a discussion, and being open to my perspective. Like, we're not all going to agree on everything, but that's normal. It's just, it's a conversation.
Right. Yeah. And people out there, you shouldn't be afraid to have an argument, with an ENTP. We're not here to argue. We're here to refine our ideas. And we want to know what you think without telling you, what do you think? We want to just say, I believe in this, or I think that, and throw it out at you and see what you want to do with it. But just know that we're not judging you. We're not putting you down. We're not trying to make ourselves feel smarter than you or compete with you. We're trying to figure out for ourselves. So I think we get a bad rap as being the debater, that we always want to argue, and that's just not true. And if anyone wants to argue about that with me, come on.
Yeah, no, you're 100% correct, because I mean, the debater is our, what is it, just like our alternate name for our type.
One of them.
But just like you said it perfectly. When we do argue back, you probably said something extremely confidently, and it could be something that we don't agree with, or it's an opposite point of view. So if we're confident that you can stand by your view, we're going to test to see what else you can say about whatever your point of view is. So we're not arguing. So like, just to add on to what he said, we're not arguing with you. We are seeking information. And if you're confident enough to stand by your point of view, we're confident enough to poke and prod it and see where we can take it.
That's exactly it. And we come off probably pretty cocky because we know how to deliver an argument. You got to be confident about it. I mean, like, I really think, that blah, blah, blah. And we want to be able to say, now, we're looking for your confidence. And when we don't see it, we know we got you against the ropes. We're just like, but in a way that we can go back and say to ourselves, first of all, we're trying to be, maybe when we're younger, we're not as tactful, but we try to come off extremely tactful. There may be some bad ENTPs. I've heard you call out some bad ENTPs. You gave them an ass chewing, girl. You're like, all you bad ENTPs out there, I'm reading your, it's like, oh man, slap. That was beautiful. I was like, put them in their place, sister. So it was great. Yeah, it was really awesome to hear you. I like it when you stick up for the underdog. I think a lot of us, especially when we're mature, we always root for the underdog. So we're not all bad.
No, yeah. And no type is all bad and no type is all good. I mean, that's just a phrase that cannot be said about any specific type. But
yeah, we're all bad.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Is there anyone that you would like to collab with in the future, Melissa?
Well, I would love to have you on my channel as well, and have you on. And awesome. We'll have to probably do Zoom again because we're on 2 separate coasts.
Yes.
But we will figure it out.
Absolutely.
And I mean, there's a lot of other MBTI and ENTP specifically creators, and there's a ton of creators that follow me who don't post anything ENTP, but maybe they do hair or beauty. So I kind of want to give back to not only my own community, but kind of see who else is out there and kind of just go down the YouTube MBTI, ENTP rabbit hole, because I think we kind of get stuck on some of the big names, but there's a ton of people actually producing content about MBTI. So
absolutely,
I got to go dig for them.
Hey, no squirrel either. What happened?
I know, I didn't see Carl. Where's Carl?
Where the hell did Carl go? I've got this backstory that Carl, he's been getting a little, even though he's a stunt squirrel, he's had some pretty close calls lately, and and he's got to sign the contract because the year is almost up, and I'm thinking he's trying to kind of get earn some more nuts. I don't know. Bad Carl. Yeah. Was there anything else you wanted to talk about on your show? Anything that's coming up that you'd like to tell the audience about? I have so many ideas and none of them are currently planned. So yeah, how are the holidays?
Tuned, I guess. I'm excited for you and your INFJ though. I'm very excited for you guys, and I'm happy to hear that y'all are 7 months in and going strong.
Yes, I would love to have you two on together, but she's an INFJ, so she's like, no, please, no.
It's a little much.
Yeah, but thank you so much for being our guest on the 10th episode of Club ENTP. So come back again anytime, okay? And don't forget.
Congratulations on your 1 year.
1 year of the channel, and they haven't taken me down yet. Can you believe this? This is awesome. So, and don't forget to subscribe to her YouTube channel, Melissa Talks. And Melissa, if you need any extra chaos on your show, I mean, you know who to call. You know, I'd be happy to answer any questions. If you find that my romance is just so noteworthy to tell the world, I'll be happy. I'll talk her into your show too. But that's a huge audience. I'd love to meet them sometime. And thank you again for coming onto the show. I really appreciate it. All the way from the East Coast, ladies and gentlemen, it's Melissa Talks.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. You hear that? My audience is just, wow. I haven't heard them, so they know you. They obviously know you. And also, speaking of audiences, I'm glad that you stayed tuned this long because it's time for what? Viewer Mail by Daparu, a steampunk. So, check it out. Oh, good. You're still here.
It's time for Viewer Mail. Last episode, many of you wrote some outstanding comments. It's too bad I don't have more time to answer them all. Before I waste any more time, let's start off the show with a comment left by a viewer named Melissa Talks. Hey, I know her. She writes in and says, "Thank you for showcasing your conversation with your ENFP daughter. I appreciate her perspective and both y'all's banter throughout. Very informative." Thank you, Melissa Talks. You can interview people while walking with them on your show too. But then you might have to rename your show to Melissa Walks, or Melissa Walks and Talks, or Melissa Walkin', because I don't know. I don't know. Next up, yell, "Why? Pillow ski. Why not just have one or the other? Why have a pillow with a built-in ski? It makes no logical sense. Spock, I want answers. Bones, beam me up."
Damn it, Jim. You grossly misread the viewer's name again.
Oh,
Learn to read.
what's that? I grossly misread the viewer's name again. Whoops, whoopsie. Let me try that again. Eli Filowski writes in and says, "I can tell you're such a proud papa, and rightly so. You've raised an intelligent young woman. As an INTJ, my favorite types are both ENTP and ENFPs. So this was a great interview." Aw, thank you. Now I feel bad for deliberately butchering your name. I should be more sensitive, because you never know when an arrogant, antisocial, unfeeling, judgmental, and condescending INTJ perfectionist will find themselves terribly fond of you. And why wouldn't an ENTP be terribly fond of an arrogant, antisocial, unfeeling, judgmental, and condescending INTJ perfectionist? We're perfect for each other. Next up, Benjamin Flaheimen. I remember him from the last show. He's that giant poet. He writes in, "Such an honor to be featured on Club ENTP, the reading rainbow of psychomedic programming." Wait a minute. Was that another put down? You just don't learn, do you? I'm sure you spent an over-exorbitant amount of time watching that children's show, The Reading Rainbow. But that doesn't give you any right to plagiarize their material and call it your poetry. Now we know where your source comes from. You can't fool me. And finally, Charisse Bruner writes in and says, "Such an interesting conversation. I've been thinking about it since I first watched the other day. Society thinks I'm an extrovert probably because my parents are extroverts. I'm only 51% introvert. Bah ha ha." Well, Charisse, you should have been built like me. I never had parents. Maybe that's why I'm an ENTP. The only thing I'm 51% of is hot air and steam. Well, that's all the time you have, folks. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell so you don't miss a thing, or this will happen. Oh, I'm out of here. Make sure you subscribe before the wheel of death stops spinning. I'm out of here. Oh, and don't forget to enjoy the chaos. Bye.
Oh my gosh, it's Club ENTP's Wheel of Death. Poor Carl. Rick, that's our portal. Well, what if it lands on it and it gets sent to our dimension? What would happen to us? He wouldn't. That would be bad. Relax, little bucko. Don't worry about it. I see we're all in a cartoon. Are we real, Rick? Or just a figment of Daparu's imagination? That's on a need-to-know basis, and you don't need to know. Oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. I think I'm having deja vu. Get the trap, 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 trap.